A family tradition since 1897. Online at papanicholas.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So yesterday, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin made it official. It was widely anticipated he wasn't going to run again because he can't win. I mean, he's getting pounded right now in the polls by Jim Justice, who's going to be the Republican nominee.
Like Mitt Romney, deciding not to run again because they know they're going to lose.
Right, but that doesn't mean he won't be running for something, because here was the other part of the announcement.
The growing divide between Democrats and Republicans is paralyzing Congress and worsening our nation's problems. The majority of Americans are just plain worn out. Our economy is not working for many Americans, from the rising cost of food and fuel and everything in between. We have a border crisis with illegal drugs entering our country and killing Americans every day. Our national debt is out of control, and Americans don't feel safe, even in their own communities. We are providing critical aid to two of our allies, fighting wars for their survival, and we must prevent being pulled into a major war ourselves. These are not Republican or Democratic challenges. These are American challenges. They affect every one of us, and we need to face them together. I know our country isn't as divided as Washington wants us to believe. We share common values of family, freedom, democracy, dignity, and a belief that together we can overcome any challenge. We need to take back America and not let this divisive hatred further pull us apart. Public service has and continues to drive me every day. That is the vow that I made to my father over 40 years ago, and I intend to keep that vow until my dying day. May God bless America, the great state of West Virginia, and each and every one of you.
I smell a presidential run.
I smell a cardboard cutout human being with saccharin bromides. That's a bit redundant, but so is Joe Manchin. I mean, honestly, and he's going to go out on a listening tour to see if he can help or bring the country together, and so on and so forth. Right. By the way, I love, but one of my favorite cliches is,
which one? Congress
is paralyzed. Oh, the divisions. It's funny. It seems like you guys both parties have gotten together to run up $34 trillion in debt and another 100 and a quarter in unfunded liabilities. So, I mean, you're getting along pretty well. That's a lot of action, among other related issues. But sure, we'll go ahead and buy that rap. Any prospect that Joe Manchin gets into the race, because I guess it would be interesting, but how interesting would it be if he can't appeal to swing voters in West Virginia who would vote for Donald Trump, but also vote for somebody who markets themselves as a centrist Democrat like Joe Manchin, as they used to? Then who exactly is he going to pull in anywhere else? For more on this, please be joined by Bret Baier. He is the host of Fox News Special Report, weekdays, 5 p.m. Chicago time. Best-selling author of the just-released To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington and the Fragile American Experiment. Bret, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Morning.
So Joe Manchin presidential bid, how likely is that?
I'd say in my candidate casino, it is 70-30.
70-30 he gets in? Really?
Yeah. I actually think it is a Romney-Manchin ticket.
Real? Oh, whoa. So will they run as
boy.
independents? As what party? Are they
Can't
gonna create
shake
their
these
new
two
party?
guys. Golly.
No labels party.
Oh,
Of course.
okay.
They'll
Of course.
probably be on 36 ballots. So listen, you've got an election that is essentially a grab bag. I mean, this is probably going to happen, this Romney-Manchin thing, or Manchin-Romney, but I think it's Romney-Manchin. And then you've got Robert Kennedy Jr.
Uh-huh.
You've got Jill Stein now got in. Well, who's the other guy that's in? the activists. Anyway, you're going to have a lot of people on the ballot who are going to split even just small amounts of votes.
Yeah, but a Manchin Romney ticket, who's that going to take more votes away from, the Republicans or the Democrats?
Good question. I think if it is Biden versus Trump, which it likely is going to be, it could come from both sides. The Democrats are really fearful of this because they believe that it comes more from Biden because he doesn't have the diehard followers that Donald Trump has. And in that sense, they're right.
Right. I mean, if it's a race to 30%, I mean, we at least some of the recent polling, this could always change, but some of the recent polling, and this sort of is intuitive. RFK Jr., for example, if he's polling between 10 and 20%, on net, his involvement, if it's Biden, Trump, RFK Jr., it benefits Trump by a couple of points. And so even if Romney Manchin would benefit Biden to a couple of points, I mean, it just creates the stasis, and then it's a race to 30%, and Trump wins that race, or 35% maybe.
Yeah. And I think that's the other one I was thinking of was Cornel West.
Oh, yeah, Cornel West. Yeah. Wow.
So I don't know. If you get 1-2 points for Cornel West, you get 1 point for Jill Stein, you get 10 points for Robert Kennedy Jr. I mean, you're talking about, and if Romney Manchin or Manchin somebody takes 12 points, you're talking about a race that Trump could very easily walk away with.
Really interesting. And so, I mean, so the No Labels crew, what is the thinking there? I mean, they obviously don't want to throw this to Trump. They really think a Romney Manchin ticket is going to inflame the passions or be a default, the sort of what you heard from Joe Manchin there, we're the go along, get along guys are going to bring everybody together and fix problems and so on and so forth. I mean, the same rap that people, the American people have been hearing from both parties for, I don't know, 3 or 4 generations at least, and what gave rise to Trump in 2016 in the first place.
That's true. That's all true. But that is the pitch. And they're going to have a convention in April, and it's going to happen. And so.
Interesting. Really interesting.
I think, if you can get your head around, another alternative, maybe, it gets 20%, but you're going to have the major candidates, vying for the rest of the ticket. And I think it's going to be fascinating. This election will be unlike any other election we have ever covered.
It already is with the putative nominee for a major party facing 4 criminal trials. I mean, yeah, it's probably. I think we're already there, and it's going to get wilder as you're indicating. The shutdown, the prospect. Here we go again with federal quote unquote shutdown, federal government shutdown theater. We had Katie Britt on the program yesterday, a Republican senator from Alabama, and I asked her about the admonition coming from former acting ICE Director Tom Homan and others that, hey, look, shut it down until we do something about the border. And I'm not talking about $1 billion for more clerical staff to process asylum applicants into the country. Until we do something policy-wise at the border to stop what is occurring, then shut it down. And she was, well, we're going to have to see how everybody, what kind of, consensus we can forge among Senate Republicans and so on and so forth. How do you see this latest iteration of the shutdown theater playing out?
Well, I think Speaker Johnson is coming into the realization how tough that job is. They had to pull 2 appropriations bills this week because they didn't have the votes. And it's Republican on Republican. And I think that you're probably going to get some kind of continuing resolution. that has to be put forward by early next week. Otherwise, they can't do it. So I think if push comes to shove, I think they probably don't shut down. But you're right. There's a lot of that feeling like get your stuff in order and shut down until you do.
How long do you think he's going to last as House Speaker?
I think he's got a little bit of runway because Republicans are embarrassed about what happened last time. But there's still the motion to vacate, which is one person could step up and say, I really don't like this guy, and start that whole Matt Gaetz process again.
On the other side, Biden Inc. and the investigation into all the business dealings. So we have a couple of developments this week, and since, you're the only guy who reports on this at the D.C. level, and we try to do what we can here at the regional level, the whistleblowers who accuse FBI officials of retaliating against agents for their political beliefs, the disclosure in testimony that was given before House Ways and Means that Hunter Biden was trying to deal with his alleged tax cheating as late as 2020, and Jim Comer issuing subpoenas for Biden family members, including the big guy, in the process of serving those to whistle those individuals, the principals in the Biden family, before the House Oversight Committee. What's your handle where all of this Biden Inc. stuff is? Is this just more sort of theater that ends up with everybody running in place and holding to their perspectives on the issue, or is there any sort of break coming that you can foresee?
I do think it's moving. I do think the subpoenas are another level, and I think that Comer, is sort of a dog with a bone, and he's got some stuff. He's got some bank records. He's got some stuff behind him that is going to back this up, and he seems really adamant that it's all going to come together. I haven't seen all of the evidence, so I can't say, but I do think that it's moving in a way that that not only David Weiss has to cover, this is the special counsel, but Congress is going to put forward.
Yeah, and I meant to say excluding the big guy, and with those subpoenas, it's Hunter, it's brother Jim, and it's Rob Walker, excluding the big guy for now. But what about speaking of the big guy, what about that other investigation that has been memory hold? Has anybody seen or heard from Robert Hur lately about the investigation into the classified doc handling by the big guy?
No, we haven't. Bret Baier. Sorry, driving in. They haven't, and he was supposed to come forward about a month ago, and so
where is he?
Where is he? What's happened? It's amazing.
Maybe we need a manhunt like they're doing in New Jersey for that J6 guy. Maybe we need to scramble some, FBI agents and tactical units to find this Robert Hur. Maybe he's gone missing. I don't know. Bret Baier is the host of Fox News Special Report, weekdays 5 p.m., best-selling author of the just released To Rescue the Constitution, George Washington, and the Fragile American Experiment. Bret, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Have a good weekend. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some great news. From now until January 15th, the health insurance exchanges are open again. And even if you've never qualified for a health insurance subsidy before, you most likely will now. The American Rescue Plan expanded subsidy eligibility to millions of Americans who have never qualified.